Do you like hacking? Do you like being a nuisance? Are you perhaps just a little guy? Do you want to pilot a mech that reflects that? Play the Goblin. Nobody will like you, but that's kind of the point. Plus, they probably don't like you already if you're the type of person to pick the Goblin. Your GM will cry as you make the boss walk off a ledge and instantly win. Your teammates will cry as you force them to become your symbiotic sugar daddy. You will cry when everybody eventually gets tired of your BS and beats you to a pulp. Anyways, welcome to Lancer, but fast. Let's start with the basics. The Goblin is just a little guy at size 1/2, meaning you're the perfect size to be chucked like a football, which is something people would be very tempted to do if they can get their hands on you. It'd be pretty easy to chuck you too, considering your +1 difficulty to hold checks and saves, so you better make sure to keep a safe distance between you and whatever person you've managed to piss off recently. And knowing you, that includes literally everybody in a 2-kilometer radius. But what are its stats? To keep it simple, you're a little baby. You're tiny, and you feel it. Your health, low. Your repair cap, half the norm. Your heat cap, yowza. Your dick, tiny. In return for just being a little guy, you're as slippery as me after the Grease Factory incident, which we're not gonna talk about. And your powers to mess with people have become similar to those of a bad prank YouTuber. Oh, your tech stats are way higher, allowing you to hack anyone around you and insist on saying, "I'm in," whenever you succeed on a tech attack. That joke wasn't funny the first time you made it, and it isn't getting better with time. That's not to mention the straight +1 accuracy to tech attacks you get, as well as the ability to quick tech anyone who tech attacks you as a reaction, both of which combine to make you the most hateable can of wires on the battlefield. But what about its core power? In short, you become a sugar baby to one of your teammates. You physically merge with them, taking your turn with them, having hard cover, moving with them, and giving them your tech stats. This makes you not liable to die from someone sneezing near you, but also makes you completely reliant on your daddy. Or mommy, I don't judge. But make sure not to get stunned, or else your sacred and somewhat kinky bond will be severed. Use this ability when you're fighting a big enemy to gain some much needed defense, or to make the hacking build that one of your teammates put on their Blackbeard for some godforsaken reason actually viable once submission. The possibilities are limitless.
Please note, possibilities are limited on one submission because of how core power works.
Alright, time for the license upgrade, since I know you little crybabies aren't satisfied with the frame stats, you entitled pricks. First off, at level 1, you got the Autopod and the HorrorOS system upgrade. Named like that because Raw really likes puns, apparently. The Autopod is the gun for people too busy smashing their faces into their keyboards hacking, aka you, to actually shoot anything. You can't attack normally with this thing. Instead, whenever someone consumes lock-on, you can just hit your target for 3 kinetic damage as a reaction. You don't even need to roll to hit, so even if you pissed off Lady Luck herself, and knowing you probably have, you can still be effective with this gun. The only downside is, like I just said, you can't fire this thing normally, so don't take this if you only have the brain power to barrage every round. The other ability, HorrorOS 1, gives you 2 new options for invade, those being Puppet System and Eject Power Cores. Puppet System just makes you play
slide to the left
out of your mech's onboard speakers, and your target is compelled to follow your instructions. You can move an enemy their speed in a direction of your choice, but the real power of this ability comes from the fact that this movement provokes reactions. In other words, your Tortuga is going to absolutely pummel any poor sucker you choose into the dirt. The other option this upgrade gives you is Eject Power Cores. In short, you go,
"Please let us put our power weapons into a peaceful yard,"
and make them hesitate shooting for a round. No. No, just kidding. You actually violently eject their magazines and batteries, making them unable to attack if they wanted to, by jamming them and dealing damage to anyone around them as red-hot fuel rods are launched into their unexpected faces. Unfortunately, you can only do this to any given character once a scene because you're a coward. License level 2 gets you the Goblin frame itself, as well as the Meta Hook and HorrorOS system upgrade too. Meta Hook continues the theme of becoming one of your teammates' sugar babies by letting you link up with them and using your innate powers of
clown-to-clown communication.
You get to use their sensors in line of sight for your tech actions, and they get to use your systems for checks and saves. However, if one of you were to get cyberbullied and take heat or condition, the other also suffers the same effect, because the bond between sugar daddy and baby is much like the relationship between the clownfish and anemone. When the clownfish or anemone suffers, so does the other. Who's the clownfish and who's the in your relationship is up to you, but the point still stands. If one of you is screwed, both of you are screwed. The other ability ability at LL2 is HorrorOS2, which also gives you 2 more options for invade. The first is Ideal Image, which lets you create a size 2 object to use as cover or to screw with enemies. However, since you've created it using the power of the Mandela effect and it isn't actually real, enemies can remove it with a full action systems check or being shoved into it, in which case they realize that it's spelled Berenstain Bears and not Berenstein Bears and realize it's not real. The other ability is False Idol, which allows you to make a copy of yourself for an ally somewhere that forces any enemies that attack your target to make a systems check or believe that the idol is the real thing and attack it instead. Now, the last level of Goblin gives you abilities only fit for the truest of gamers. To nobody's surprise, it gives you HorrorOS System Upgrade 3, as well as the Osiris class NHP. For starters, HorrorOS 3 gives you, who'da thunk, 2 more invade options. The first, Dimensional Emblems, creates 3 data constructs adjacent to your target that cause anyone to pass through them to take 2 heat. It doesn't specify what exactly these data constructs are, but it's safe to assume they're just rage bait so potent they physically harm anything nearby with their sheer power. The other ability HorrorOS 3 gives you is Dimensional Shackles, which makes it so that if an enemy moves, you can decide that they simply did not do that by teleporting them back to where they were when you use this ability as a free action on your turn. Last but not least, the Goblin gets access to the Osiris class NHP. This NHP gives you the ability to hurl someone into the duat. What that means, I have no clue. I'm not a nerd who actually read the lore, but ability-wise does 4 things depending on how many times you've used it. You force your target to make a system save or take 2 heat and one of the following effects. The first time you use it on an enemy, you control their movement next turn. The second time slows and impairs them for a turn. The third time stuns them, and the fourth time just gets them on your side for a turn, presumably by offering them a free bean burrito as payment if they join you or something like that. Personality-wise, they're just the worst. They think they're the greatest thing ever, but at the same time they're super insecure and are constantly looking for praise from their pilot. If you're a GM and one of your players picks this spoiled brat of an NHP, you should play them as insufferably as possible. They think they're a god and they're gonna make sure everyone knows it. In fact, you could probably model it off of the personality of your Goblin player, knowing the kind of people who play it. Overall, you're a cheeky bugger who makes everyone around you want to pummel you to death for being so annoying. Use your elite hacksaw skills to confuse and confound your enemies while you chill with your unwilling sugar daddy. Anyways, that's all the time I've got. Screw off, I'm going to bed.